Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So this episode was good. It wasn't good as yesterday's in some respects, but in others, it was. Sammy versus Nicole. Here's the thing. I've never really liked Sammy. I mean, when I heard she was coming back, everyone was all hyped up. Hurricane Sammy's coming back in. And I was like, okay, I want to sit there and see this woman. And after I saw her, I was like, oh, she's kind of annoying. I honestly don't know what Lucas sees in her. I mean, this is clearly before my time as far as watching it. She's been a fan favorite for a hot minute. There's obviously something there that the fans really like about her. Having her walk in Nicole's place and start lashing out at her for exposing her, I gotta sit there and say, might have been the most... Oh, and there's a thunderstorm that's going on, so if you hear thunder, that's what it is. That might have been the most ridiculous thing I think I've seen in a soap opera ever. I mean, Sammy walked in there was like, how could you do this to my marriage? How could you do X, Y, and Z and do this to me and EJ? How could you sit there and tell him? I was just like, is this woman serious? I mean, no one is that stupid. This woman is on an entirely different plane of delusion. The fact that she kept coming at Nicole, and even Rafe was like, first of all, when she came in there, she was like, Rafe, you gotta leave. Me and the bitch needs to talk. And Rafe did exactly what I was saying yesterday. He was like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. But even Rafe was like, you know what they say about, throwing stones living in glass houses. And she turns around and she looks at Rafe like, what? Like her brain just couldn't process reality. I mean, she's upset with Nicole for doing the exact same thing. Now, I was sitting there thinking about this episode. And watching them go back and forth, I already knew that at the end of the day, they're both trash. They're both trash, and they're both wrong. Nicole pretty much was just sitting there saying, because this would have been entirely stupid if both of them would have really came at each other the way Sammy was sitting there coming at Nicole. Nicole pretty much was like, listen, if you would have left me alone with my marriage, I would have left you alone with yours. But you didn't do that. So, I did what I did. And, I mean, it's hard to sit there and really give respect to either one of those women because, let's be honest, they both did something bad. But in that moment, at least Nicole was just like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother to sit there and sugarcoat what I did. I'm not going to really truly defend what I did. I'm just going to sit there and say, you started it, I finished it. So now we're both in a sinking ship because of it. What are you going to do now? And then she found out that, Rafe was like, oh, well, Lucas or Philip, I don't exactly remember who Rafe actually exposed. Rafe was like, well, Philip was the one that gave you, because, Sammy was like, well, how'd you get the letter? How'd you get the letter? Like, that really mattered. But Rafe was like, well, no, Philip gave it to her. She put two and two together, and she was like, Lucas. So now she's upset with Lucas. I'm like, Lucas, what the hell is wrong with you? Listen, I go back to the early 90s. Now, Sammy, my odds is trash. But 90s Sammy had it going on. I'm not even gonna lie. I looked, because I one day I was so mad at Sammy for some odd reason. I was like, what the hell are these people seeing her? Someone on Instagram is looking through photos, and I was like, oh, that's what she looked like back then? Oh, well, I can understand why. Why they went after her. I can understand why they went after her, but, you know, her personality is just, well, it's an acquired taste, I'll put it that way. But now she's all upset with Lucas. She kind of realized that she wasn't going to get anywhere with Nicole. She was all like, this isn't over. I felt like her sitting there saying, this isn't over. It's like watching an episode of Pinky and the Brain. Where at the end of the episode, they sit there and say, we're going to sit there and take over the world. That's what that just reminded me of. But yeah, she leaves. Now, Nicole's all upset. You know, and she was like, listen, even, you know, she realized that even her, you know, even though she exposed Sammy to feel something better or to feel some sort of revenge or something, it didn't do a damn thing. So she's all upset. She's talking about how she's alone and yada, yada, yada. Rafe's like, you got a lot of people. You got Allie, you got Henry, you got Polly, and you got me. So now they're all sitting down, hugging, and canoodling. I'm like, Rafe, you have been just walking this whole situation. You just been just, I mean, you would sit there and think that there was one, I guess, clip or whatever, when Ava flat out was like, yo, do y'all two got something going on? Literally said that to Nicole and Rafe, like, do y'all got something going on? And of course Rafe denied it. Because she was like, yo, listen, I'm putting this to bed right here, right now. I'm not doing this. You're not going to make me boo-boo the fool. Now, so they're sitting there hugging or whatever, you know, comforting her. Because, you know, you know, Rafe just clearly has not learned his lesson. And, you know, Ava's sitting there talking to Jake or whatever. They're talking about Ben and, you know, how Jake is proud of him and rooting for him. And Ava's like, I don't know about all that. That seems a little bit too far, but okay. So you talk about that. You talk about Gabby a little bit, and then they get into the fact that they both not only were in the mob, but Jake was in the Vitali mob. You know, like he was in her circle, or whatever. So you talk about that. And, you know, Ava's like, well, I'm not really doing anything since the mob or whatever. And, you know, you talk about Jake as far as like, oh, don't you want to go back to Demera and fight for your, you know, title or whatever. And, you know, even Jake realized that, yo, this wasn't even my title. This was never mine to really have. And I'm not really trying to compete with a bunch of Vipers. So he's like, I'm going to go to Titans. Titan, you know, well, at first he was like, oh, I'm going to sit there and let Gabby sit there and come up with something. I'm like, so you're just going to put all that pressure on Gabby? I mean, Gabby did say she was going to be doing all the heavy lifting, but I'm like, bro, you can... I mean, you know, even as far as apartments that he was sitting there looking at, you know, he named one place, and, you know, Ava was like, that's kind of a sketchy neighborhood. You sure you want to sit there and live there? And what I don't understand is he's going through apartments and everything like that. And I guess the apartment that he was looking for was probably cheap, but probably in a really sketchy area. Jake, aren't you rich? I mean, I know you're not running the company anymore, but, like, don't you have, like, an inheritance? You know, like, don't you have money left over from your dad, you know, inheritance or anything? What are you doing? I don't understand, but whatever. But with that being said, Ava's sitting there talking about, well, Ava gets the idea of trying to work at Basic Black, you know, get something with Nicole, whatever, to kind of, you know, like, do something over there. She calls the office, you know, and of course, got her damn name. Nicole took the day off, so, you know, she's like, I'm just going to go over the house. I'm just going to go and surprise her. She goes over there. I'm sitting there thinking, wouldn't you knock on the door before you just walk on in? I mean, I wouldn't want any of my friends, even my closest friends, to just walk on in my house in my place without knocking. I mean, just for obvious reasons, no. But she decides to just start to open the door and just start to walk on in. And she sees Rafe holding and hugging, and cuddling up with Nicole. She has that look on her face, that fiery look on her face. I'm like, you know what, listen, Rafe, whatever happens at this point, it's on you. It's totally on you. And whatever. On a side note, did Orpheus ever get like recaptured? I'm seriously wondering about that. I totally forgot about that. I'm like, I don't know why, but it just somehow Orpheus just came into my head. So did he get recaptured? I know Ben's dad got recaptured, but did he? Or did he get killed? I don't remember. So long ago. The other guy got captured, by the way. The psychopath who was holding Sierra hostage. I don't know why I'm sitting there thinking of this, but all of a sudden I'm just like, what happened with that storyline? Anyway, what else we got? Lucas goes to DeMaros to try to find Sammy, runs into EJ. EJ is just having a real bad day. This dude is in full psychotic mode. And Lucas just like, they go back and forth. Okay, at first Lucas sits there and tries to cover and be like, hey, listen, the affair didn't happen. You know, whatever that letter says, it's not true. EJ's like, you know what, I'm not playing this game. Sammy already told me everything, she confessed. They go back and forth. EJ pretty much puts all the blame on Sammy. And, you know, when Lucas is like, or you just gonna shift all the blame to her? And EJ's like, no, there's something there for you too. So they go back and forth, and they talk about all kinds of history. There's one part in EJ, EJ did something that is, will be considered definitely cancelable. He would definitely get canceled if it happened now. And this is something where apparently a beam was, Lucas was stuck between like some sort of beam or whatever. And EJ said, listen, I will help this man out. Sammy, I will help this man out only if you have sex with me. I mean, that's just some real scumbag behavior. So they go back and forth over history and stuff like that. And at this point, you know, it just seems like Lucas is not getting a hint that this dude looked like he's about to kill someone. And, well, if he's not going to kill Sammy, and he even said that, he was like, yo, listen, I'm not going to sit there and touch her hair on her head. You, on the other hand, he turns around, he picks up that letter opener, and he just looks at it like, he looks at him. Now, Lucas at this point is like, I don't know where Lucas got all this gusto from, but Lucas is like, what are you going to do? You going to stab me? You going to do it? You going to stab me? And he walks up to EJ, he takes the letter thing or whatever, and points it to his chest like, do it. Do it, bro. I'm right here. Now, Sammy walks in, and Sammy's like, listen, even though she's upset with Lucas, you know, she's like, you know, EJ, don't do it, whatever. And Lucas looks dead into EJ's eyes. He's like, you don't have the stones to do it. I'm like, you really want to tempt this man? But to be fair, I understand, you know, maybe in some sort of way I understand what Lucas is doing. Lucas is like, listen, I'm going to sit there and handle this problem head on. Because if I run, if I leave, or whatever, if I don't confront this man now, then I'm going to pretty much be looking over my shoulders. And I'm not going to sit there and have him put fear in my heart. So he was like, yo, listen, if you're going to do something, do it now. Now, you're not going to do it? You're not going to do it? That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, you know, I apparently EJ got tired of playing chicken with him. He's like, you know what? Whatever. So he looks at Sammy. They go back for a little bit, and EJ's like, "Listen, I had Harrow, whatever, gather all your stuff because I want you out. I want you out this house. I want you out my life. I want to be done with you." And Sammy says something, and then EJ was like, "Listen, do you want your stuff to just be scattered over the lawn? Because I was actually doing you a favor, but we can go option B if you want." I guess in his heart, I guess in his mind, he was like, "We can always go with option C, and I can just kill Lucas right then and there." But he leaves. He's like, I want to be done with you, and that's it. And he walks off. And Lucas like, I thought he was gonna kill you. He was about to kill me until you came and stopped him. And Sammy was like, maybe I should have let him. I'm like, Lucas, this is what you're fighting for. You honestly think that this, right there, the way she's acting, you really think that she's worth it? EJ called him a simp. Now, I know that he probably meant like simpleton, but we all know what simp means. And the fact that he was like, you're a simp, and the way he's acting, I'm like, EJ has he kind of has a point. He kind of has a point. Now, the last scene was with Philip and Gabby. They're talking. Well, first of all, Gabby is in Philip's chair, and Philip is like, Gabby, what are you doing? They talk for a little bit, and Gabby does apologize to Philip for using him to string him along. Well, using him to try to get over Jake. Now, Philip's like, listen, no harm, no foul. Everyone got to be with the people that they want to be with. Now, at some point, Gabby takes hard drive or something from Philip's laptop. And, Philip is sitting there saying, because Gabby's like, listen, I'm sorry for what I did, as far as using you, whatever. And Philip's like, listen, it's all good, no harm, no foul. Working with you is great. You're definitely helping with the company, so, I was still right, as far as working with you. Now, I'm sitting there looking at this whole situation, and I'm like, I feel like it's so wrong what Gabby's doing to Philip. Because Philip took a chance on Gabby after Xander wanted nothing to do with her. And, Gabby couldn't sit there and work with Jake at the time. Jake turned her down. And Philip took a chance on her. Even when Gabby was sitting there using Philip to try to get over Jake, he didn't take offense to it. He wasn't upset about it. And he could have been. He had every right to sit there and call her out for that. And he didn't. And he decided to actually act like a gentleman. It was like, listen, it's all good. Don't worry about it. So the fact that, Gabby is pretty much plotting his demise, practically getting ready to stab him in the back, just feels wrong. Now, it's obviously great for tension and drama, and this what makes the soap work. But just in general, it just comes across as wrong and dirty. Like this guy literally was a gentleman to you, gave you a chance when Jake practically slammed the door in your face. And this is how you're going to repay him? Really? And then you go back home and you talk to Jake and you're like, our plan is going to be working perfectly. He's going to be out. You're going to be in. And by the way, she did vouch for Jake as far as, hiring him. And Philip had no reason to sit there and really hire him. I mean, he has limited business experience. He got outed by a company. I don't think he's working as a mechanic. And Philip is still going to sit there and bother to give him a chance because of Gabby. And Gabby's sitting there with Jake plotting to take him down and take over the world, because why not? Really, Gabby? Really? I mean, I know Jake is your man and you want, ride or die. I respect the hell out of that. But in some sort of ways, I feel like that's just so wrong. Let me just double check my notes. Oh, and the last scene was with Ben and Ciara. How did I forget about Ben and Ciara? I think mostly because it just seemed like it was just rinse and repeat. I mean, Ben hurt himself. Well, Ben got hurt because apparently, when Ciara pushed him, when she did, beep, he fell back and somehow he sprained his leg because, like, physics, I guess. But she leaves. She comes back. She agrees to kind of, like, wrap his leg or whatever. They do some banter or whatever. It's just, the usual Ciara being all catty to Ben, and Ben just not there taking it because apparently this is, whatever. I was sitting there trying to find some sort of joke or snarky remark, and I couldn't. But one interesting thing that happened, I think that was probably almost the only thing, is that, they're talking about the splint and wrapping, his leg around or whatever. So after she does that, they're talking for a little bit, and Ciara remembers when Ben was, after wrapping her leg, helping her out and just kind of talking to her about the stuff that he did, how it can't be forgiven, and he wanted her to know that, like she remembered some stuff about their past. But this, of course, freaks her out, because Ben is all like, oh, you remember something, right? No, I didn't remember anything. I gotta go. I gotta go to my wedding. I gotta go. Bye. So now at this point, she gets ready to actually leave. But, of course, at this point, the car doesn't start. Now, I'm pretty sure, because she really did leave. And I actually think she was going to leave this time, but she couldn't because the car didn't start. Which is odd, because I'm like, what? Yeah, I guess she helped him with his legs, so whatever. But yeah, the car didn't start, so now she goes back in there. She somehow blames Ben for the car not starting because, like, why not? And, so now I guess they're just kind of stuck with each other. In some ways, this is kind of like my least favorite part of this episode. Mostly just because I'm just kind of annoyed with Ciara just constantly being catty all the time. Like, all the time. Like, every time she's around Ben, it's just the same crap over and over again. Like, it's not cute. It's not romantic. It's not funny. It's just annoying. And it's just, I mean, granted, everyone has their bad sides and their bad days. No one's perfect. But it's just like the same constant mood over and over again. No one likes watching somebody be catty all the time. And, like, this is like her settings. Like, this is like her default settings when it comes to his Ben. So after a while, it's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Ciara's gonna be a bitch today. She's gonna be all bitchy. It's gonna be great. Yay, I just so can't wait for that. Almost to the point I actually forgot about it because it was just like, ugh. With that being said, I think that's about it. If I missed anything, please write it down in the comment section below. I want to thank everyone for watching. And I know my video came out hella late. I know Mondays are always my late day, so I really appreciate people watching that night and people watching the next day. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I totally forgot my outro. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Be safe. I will see you in the next video. There it is.